Hello, good evening, everybody. We are here back with the SAPI IP Business Talks. Uh, we try to invite interesting people, talk about IP management. So, this is a live format. And why we do that live? Because you are invited to ask questions, to give your comments, and do that in our chat here. And I will try to integrate that. So today we talk about IP and innovation transfer in Latin America. Very, very interesting topic. It's an emergent region. It's full of innovation. Interesting enough that outside of Latin America is not very very known. And so I'm very happy that we have David Hurtado today with us. He supports us also with the IP Business Academy in the region, and I'm very happy that we can talk. And one thing is new for today. We would like to make a survey with you during our discussion. So the link is given to you on LinkedIn at the chat. And then with that link, you can go to the survey. And at the end of our discussion here, we will show you the results of the survey. So, David, thank you very much for joining me today, this evening, this afternoon. You are in Cali, in Colombia. And please explain us a little bit about you, your background, and how you came into these strange IP worlds.
In the strange IP plus business side, because it's more strange. So first of all, thank you very much, Professor Alex, for the invitation, and thank you for the IP and Business Academy for this great opportunity to talk to the world that in Latin America is happening. Something is happening. The pandemic and the technology is helping us to the world know about it. So I am David Hurtado. I'm Colombian, CEO and founder of Licenciarte. Licenciarte is a legal tech startup uh, where our vision, our focus is to support both scientific innovation, deep tech, deep technologies from whole Latin America to be connected with the most innovative companies worldwide. And in the moon, when this guy from Tesla can travel to the moon, forgot the name, can travel to the moon, so we will go to the moon. So why we are in this business? Because I started my career as inventor, as a researcher. After that, two patents from my university. The first patent was granted in Cali. It was like in 2011. And the WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization, award me a scholarship to study Master in Patent Law in Israel. So they said we would like to have people with technical background, with some experience in patents, and with um, from developing countries. So it's almost a scholarship for David Hurtado. So I started my master there. I was in 2012 when Wave was acquired by Google. I also worked in a startup that was the entrepreneurship center from University of Tel Aviv. After that, I came back to Colombia. I worked in a law firm, and my previous role to found the the startup was the interim director of innovation entrepreneurship in a university in Colombia. So I can say that I have the mindset of the inventor, of the researcher, the entrepreneur, and the patent consultant. So all the things I put together in the startup, and the pandemic started also, was very good for us because all the people was buried in their houses and they wanted to talk with somebody. The webinar rises, so we started to do the webinars, and we saw that all the people from Latin America uh, have the same problem, the same issues, and they want to transfer their technologies in the same countries because the government say that this is the best way. But all Latin America, except from Brazil, maybe, we don't have an industry based on knowledge. We don't know how to handle with patents. Our patents are mainly in the low value, but we saw also that we have a small group of researchers who are brilliant. Those researchers have studied in Harvard, MIT, Stanford, in the best universities around the world, and they do research and they publish papers in Science, in Lancet, and they have all the capacity to create inventive concepts that can be patented and can be transferred to innovative companies around the world. So, thanks to the pandemic, that one day, 24 hours is like a 1 month in life. It's unbelievable. And the technology also allow us to reduce the cost and the time exponentially to validate the technologies from Latin American universities and connect with companies around the world. So we are in the process. We are improving our software, and we are improving our methodology. But in the meantime, we have talked with some companies as MEC, Sanofi, Decathlon, Evonik, other companies around the world, and showing the not so much technologies, but few ones that are very good patented around the world. And we are cheaper because the dollar is our monies are low. So and we have a different vision. We are very passionate with the things that we want, and maybe the companies can find solutions that they have not seen before because we think differently in Latin America. I think this is all the thing I want to say at the beginning.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you, David. I mean, so the cooperation with the IP Business Academy as a global initiative to bring IP experts together, to exchange, to educate, that's exactly one of the things which we do here for SAPI and together with the EPO in our education, that together with the Big Five, with the USPTO, with China, Japan, and Korea, that we spread the news, that we discuss that we offer education, and you bring here this technology transfer perspective in it, and also evaluation perspective, by the way. So I had a wonderful cooperation with the Peruvian a patent office, so they wanted to create an app for valuation. So at the end we stopped that because an valuation app doesn't work in the right way, but it shows that also in Chile, in Peru, that these also the patent offices want to improve the understanding and knowledge about technology transfer and about the value, the economic value of
Sure.
IP, and not just filing for the sake of having more patents. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not helpful. And so you can avoid this issue, which we have to a certain extent in Europe or in USA, and to a certain extent in Japan, in China, where we see lots of patents which are, to a certain extent, not very useful. Yeah, they just fed up the system, and nothing is done with them. Okay, so one question, because we have ambassadors across Latin America, also in Brazil, for example. But it's again and again interesting, the different perspectives. I mean, it's a huge continent, right? And and of course there are different perspectives on the current status of IP and business in Latin America. So can you explain us a little bit what's going on right now there?
Yeah. One things, or I can say, our value proposition or secret sauce, I don't know, is that our approach is for all Latin America. So different competitors or consultants that are very good, and they are in the market for more than 30 years, and this is my age. So they are focused just in Brazil, for instance, or in Mexico, and I think Licenciarte is one of the starters of the companies that take all the problem for as a whole. And I will say later why we need to take all the things as a whole. I don't want to see some answer for the survey. Hopefully, the people is answer the survey because this is one of the questions. So, in the when the pandemic started in 2020, I think I have spoken with more than 50 people from Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Costa Rica, Peru, Chile. So I had all the insight from them, and also see the evolution of the indicators in Latin America. So I have the whole picture, and I can say that Latin America is quite new in terms of patents, and more new in terms of technology transfer. Chile is rising rapidly in the process. They have very good people training, not only in the patent system but also in the business side of the patent. So they have achieved some technology transfer not only in the country but also in Latin America and abroad. Um, Other thing that I can say is that in Latin America you can see more patents from the university side or from the academia instead of the companies. Because I said before, we don't have an industry based on the knowledge. So the patents that you can see are from the research centers and academic institutions. And we started, as all the people started as a baby, we started to accomplish the government indicators. So the government said, okay, if you have patents, I will give you more money. So the universities, the biggest one, especially the public, started to file patents, and in the countries. So we can say in Peru, I see Peru, um, in my opinion, Peru and Panama will be the countries that right now have less patents, but in the near future will be a surprise because they are very organized.
Okay.
You can see in Peru some university with 100 patents just in Peru and no patents
Wow.
abroad. So,
Yeah, that's quite a number.
yeah, and one patent in our country, in our countries that are poor countries, is not good for the business. So our approach is say to the universities, let's patent abroad. Maybe an SME or a corporation can license the patent easier than in our countries. So we saw Brazil with a lot of patents. We can see Mexico with a lot of patents, but Cuba is an interesting case because
Okay.
Cuba is well, people know they are communist, and if you are talking about patent, we are talking about capitalisms. But Cuba knows how to use their patents. And I
Okay.
can say that Cuba, in terms of business patents, is the best country in Latin America. And the people don't know that, don't know that. And I will release a report in the next few days that when we will show this whole picture of Latin
Very
America
good.
in terms of
Yeah.
patents, in terms of business of the patents. So it will
Great.
be
Great. Well, we will publish it here on the blog, to show that overview. I mean, that's quite interesting because European companies don't really have on focus on technologies which, so they simply oversee these situation in Latin America. So what I hear is that there are quite disruptive thoughts which coming out of Latin America. So can you explain us a little bit why, for example, European companies should notice Latin America as a source of disruptive technologies and patent applications for disruptive solutions?
sure. So the Latin American universities don't have the budget of the US or European universities that they patent all under the sun, as the American said. So when one university or research centers patent a technology and go to different countries is because they have done a market research, they have studied with the provost, with study, one study, two studies. So it would be a patent very strong in US, Europe, in Japan. So the patents that you can find that are granted in developed markets from LatAm, they are very good patents. And we saw that because we work closely with the company IPW, and with IPW, they have an artificial intelligence software, and we validate those patents from Latin America, from different universities. And they say, with the indicator, they say, you have a very good patents, very with good scope of the protection, with difficult to challenge in developing markets. So this is the third reason. The second reason I said before, we are cheap, our universities, because for the money for one side, because our money is less. So $10,000 is a dinner for a CEO in Europe, and $10,000 for us is is two research projects. So it's cheaper than in other countries. And third one, we are very passionate. So these brilliant scientific people, we don't have the resources to scale in pilot production, but we have the proof of concept that maybe they have worked with their peers in US, in Japan, in Europe. So
Yeah,
there is a deep science in their patents, and also they have published in elite journals. So you can see the results. Is
yes,
not a secret.
yeah.
So and we have this for a reason. We have some patents from the biodiversity of Latin America. So some plants or animals or genetic things that have discovered that cure the cancer, cure the diabetes, and we have the Amazon that is unexplored. So this is the reason for why not just Europe companies, but global companies can see Latin America different, and we can see a very good business opportunities here.
But that would mean, David, that it makes sense absolutely to talk about technology transfer between Latin America and, let's say, United States or Europe. And do you think that that works quite smooth and well for the moment, or do you see some barriers which exist there? Because typically we say, well, yeah, it's an intangible asset, so it's easy to bring it from one country to the other. It's just intangible. Um, so how is the situation right now about this technology transfer in practice? And do you see there some barriers to bring technologies or ideas, intangibles, patents from Latin America universities, for example, to European companies?
No, wonderful, because as you said, Professor Alex, if you see the intangible, it's just a negotiation and a sign. You can change the sign or sign a license agreement, and it's done. But we are talking with people, and people are who drives this process, and we need to first work with the people. We need to change the mindset, the cultural things in first in Latin America. We need to have more open or minds to see that we have in the same position that European and US researchers that are our competitors in this moment. We in Latin America we don't think that. So, and you can see in the sport, in the football, soccer, that is bad for Germany. That yesterday was.
Don't mention the European Championship. That
So
was a hot day yesterday for us.
it's the same story. Brazilians knows that they are the best in the world. Argentina, they know that they are the best of the world. But Colombia, and Ecuador, Mexico, we can do the same, but our mindset is not prepared for that, because when we play in a football soccer against Germany, for instance, we feel inferior, and it's the same with the universities. So we
Okay.
need to refer to researchers to say, okay, we need to prepare to taught in English. This is another barrier, but this is no problem, because the technology, we can do a pitch with artificial intelligent voice, uh, very cheap,
Yeah.
to other party. So the English is a barrier, but it's not one of the barrier.
Yeah, when I understand you right, David, you say that what is important is first of all a certain self confidence, and
Yes.
and yeah, and second, it is a spirit, a kind of spirit that it makes sense to come on a global platform and to fight there, to compete in a positive way. Yeah, in terms
Yes,
of
right.
so,
And let me say two things that is the model from Licenciarte. One is to say the researchers that think about global problem. And I would like to share one experience. One university invented a sock with carbon fiber to absorb the charts. Um, One company, we cannot say the name of the company, say we can use not the sock, we can use the material to create a wearable shirt or anything
close. Mhm.
clothes. Thank you for the snowboard sport. Yeah,
Okay.
who can think in Colombia that we can invent something for the snow if the people in Colombia we don't know the snow?
Yeah,
So
yeah, got you.
we need to think in global problems. And the second thing is we need to be together as a continent because most of the corporation and the evolution of the tech transfer market is to acquire a big amount of intangible assets for not taking problem for freedom to operate and these kind of things. So corporation likes to acquire like big quantities of patents. So if we are able to join the intangible assets in one pool for Latin American, for instance, we can start for the pool, patent pool from Colombia, patent pool from Pacific Alliance. But if we are able to put together all the patents in one patent pool, we will have a we will have the strong patent and negotiation position in
Yeah,
front of the other countries. And this is the vision, and this is and this is my passion to create the first patent pool from all Latin America to negotiate to the world.
yeah, to join. I mean, that's to a certain extent, Europe is much smaller than Latin America.
Yeah,
But we learned our lesson, yeah, to a certain extent at least. We learned the lesson that every country alone is not is simply not strong enough, not big enough, and to compete on a global basis. So it absolutely makes sense to join forces for a region and to act together because then you have a certain gravity that others will listen and that you can create a much higher impact together.
sure,
So
sure. And this is a problem of our culture. We compete against our neighbor. We compete with our friends in a bad way. We don't know how to do things. And this is a big difference, for instance, from Israel, that I knew the culture for Israel. They are close together. Uh, we here in Latin America, we fight each other with our brother and sisters. So it's difficult to do business uh, because of the corruptions in Latin America, because of the problem that everybody knows that we have about the drugs and these kind of things. It is difficult to work with incorporations. But
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, drugs are also a big business, right? And
yes,
that's the problem that people have to make money with that. Um,
yes, let me say, it is the first multinational illegal, the first multinational that joined Latin America to the world. So if we are able to do that illegal, why cannot do the same for legal reason? And I think in the intellectual property, we can have more money than from the drug. I think that. I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, Constanza had a very good point, which I would like to address to you. She says she talks about Chile and she says technology. One problem, one challenge of technology transfer is that companies there don't invest in knowledge. Okay, so that's for sure that in Europe, in the United States, companies are used to invest money in knowledge. They know that this is an investment which pays off, maybe the best investment at all. And I would like to ask you: do you think that this is an Latin American phenomenon?
Yeah, but let me say, the companies don't invest in knowledge, maybe in Chile. That's right. And in Colombia too. And in Argentina, it's the same. But we have 7 billion of people in this world. And we have companies that have tons of money or dollars invest in knowledge. So our invitation, and thank you, Constanza, for raising this question. My invitation as licenciarte is that we think globally. If my company that is in my same if in my same country don't want to invest in knowledge, we have all the world to find somebody that want to invest in that knowledge. And I said before, the technology and the pandemic have accelerated a lot this process. So we can, if, for instance, I know a professor that is a friend of mine. He's brilliant. He Andres Jaramillo. He's the director of the PhD program in University Javeriana in Cali, part-time, and he's a researcher in Caltech, part-time. So before the pandemic, he traveled 50 days to Pasadena, California, and 50 days in Javeriana. He invented nanotechnologies for agriculture. For the COVID, also invented one product, and he has a very good patents. And he said nobody in Colombia, neither in Latin America, is able to manufacture the nano devices that we invented. So
Yeah.
it will be a waste of time looking for pharmaceuticals or companies to create these products. So I think, Constanza, the problem is not the problem is where we are looking for, not the companies that want to invest. So we need to open our markets or search and find different markets that are able and want to invest that money. And,
Yeah.
and always when the world has been in a difficult times, uh, after the difficult times is the best time for the innovation.
Of course.
So yes, it was in the 2008 in the problem of for the buildings and this kind of thing in America. After that, Dropbox started, Tesla started, so a lot of startup.
Yeah,
Uh,
in the middle of the perfect thunderstorm of the financial crisis, we
yes,
saw many today famous companies which started then. Yeah. No, I mean, David, I got your point 100% that that Latin America should not should not just focus on licensing each other countries. or within a certain a country, that it makes absolutely sense to look outside of Latin America for licensees, and to getting access to this, yeah, to a certain extent, disruptive solutions. And then we have, in addition, the aspect that it is relatively cheap. So you have a cost advantage against countries with a currency which is much more expensive. And with that cost advantage, you can also improve the tech transfer and the knowledge transfer, which is typically necessary after or associated with the license. Because I
Yes.
mean, typically the license is just, yeah, the allowance to do something, but you need the tech transfer or the knowledge transfer, that the licensee is really able to do something. It's not enough that the other party is allowed to do so. It's also necessary that they are enabled, and this
Yes.
enabling costs money. It takes time, and here Latin America has a comparative cost advantage.
Yeah, at the beginning, I will say that it will be difficult because we will be our first time, and always the first time is hard. We need to be prepared for that. Maybe the first concept will not work as we believe, but we need to mature in the process. We mature in the process. We need to find partners around the world that believes in the first time the product maybe in the market will be in an average quality, while we understand how to play this thing of the license. But as you said, Professor Alex, it's not the license, it's the technology transfer. We need PhD students that have fluently English, that can be communicate with their peers in Europe, in Asia. We can do some visits and transfer not only the patent but the knowledge to do that.
Yeah.
So it's all the process, but I can say that Cuban know to do that. They knows how to do that, and they can teach
Okay.
us to all Latin America how to do that, because they have done a lot of tech transfer, and they have introduced vaccines, medical, all the medical industry to the world, not only from Cuba. And
So
now,
David, mhm,
sorry, let me say that the thing post-pandemic will be, I think, the era for the medical technologies. We
yeah,
see that TikTok is very nice, but we need more than digital things to be alive.
yeah, and the world has, to a certain extent, learned a lecture based on
Yes.
COVID. So, David, just a few words. How can you, very concrete, how is your initiative, Licenciate, how is this initiative working to overcome these barriers?
Well, in Licenciarte, we are developing artificial intelligence software, trying to understand better the inventive, the concept of the deep tech in the universities, because the university in Latin America mostly patent the application, but not the concept. So
Okay.
one concept can bring in different application and even in different industries, and one patent can be licensed uh, 10, 20 times. So we want to find this platform technologies in Latin America. This is the first thing, understand better the different applications and patent better. Patent better is with a broader scope and patents that can be useful for companies abroad. And the
Yeah, I mean,
second,
one aspect, David, one aspect which is mentioned here from Hassan, and I like that point very much. He said that universities have a tendency to patent, let's say, more technological insights, yeah, um,
yes,
compared to real market needs. Because I mean,
sure.
that's an issue I have also here in Europe, that that these engineers love their ideas, they love technology, but at the
Yes,
end, companies need customer benefits to sell it, and sometimes the technologists, they don't understand that the technology per se is not really helpful. What the companies want are customer benefits on markets, and
sure,
that is something
sure.
different.
And this is the second point of our model, that is our epiphany, and we call the crowd knowledge market. So how to understand the market problems worldwide in the less time and quickly, and this is using the concept of crowd knowledge and the social network.
Okay.
So our model is to show the business opportunity, or the different business opportunities in the social network. If we are using LinkedIn, that is the
Yes.
best for us to say to the technology license from Qualcomm, IBM, Evonik, so the big companies and the SME. What do you think about this technology? what uh, what uh, uh, what things can be useful for a product and for your market,
Yeah.
and they give us that answer. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Very
it's
good.
not one person,
Very
it's
interesting.
10, 30, 100, 1000, and in less than 1 month. So
Okay.
we
Okay.
can validate different business model based on one technology in the short times. Yes,
Yeah.
before
Get you.
the people say that is 2 years that the inventor need to ask to everybody and at least 20 people to have an idea of the business.
Yeah.
Now we are able, thanks to the technology, to have thousands of insight from the market and say, okay, your technology is good for this or for that. So the
That's
crowd knowledge
quite a
concept.
smart approach, David. That's quite a smart approach. I would like to use the last 2 minutes that you share your screen and we look at the survey. Okay.
Thank you very much. So yeah, let me see the people, the results. So, well, here the people say that, well, this is a lot of people, were 100 million or maybe 10 billions. So we will say that the number is around 500 million.
Okay. Okay.
The total Latin American patent value. So the people would like to see biotech mainly. Yes, because of biodiversity, physiotherapy-based medical devices, plant extract, um,
Makes
human
sense. Yeah.
cell. For me, it's totally sense because I think the post-pandemic era, we need to do more medical devices and more health technologies. And in the last questions, well, if the audience have more questions, but I think we answers
In the chat, yes, because
in
we have.
the
Yeah, exactly. Because we have in our chat the opportunity to talk with each other And so thank you very much, David, for discussing that with us and giving us that very interesting insights. So what I see from the chat is that we have to continue. We have to repeat that a little bit later this year to talk about tech transfer, especially from Latin America. We saw that there's a big interest in the topic, and I think there are really insights which are relevant for the rest of the world. And to all the others, to all the audience, so thank you for the chat here. And we have these after show party on LinkedIn. So join us, put your questions there or your comments. And like always, we will try to give answers, to give you links, to give you further material which might be helpful for you. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to see you next Wednesday, and we have to show in which part of the globe we will be there. So David, bye-bye to Colombia.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I will say just one thing in Spanish. Gracias totales.